If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
So this one is yeah, that we were doing. I'll have to go back and see what my notes were so that I can ask you. Yeah, there was okay, so where we are reading the input file.
A process profile. That's
I think it's this one where we are processing the raw file. Sorry. Um,
yeah.
right.
Input
So
file. Yeah.
processing the raw file here. Yeah. Where we see there is a after the splitter there is a eval. Yes, I wanted to check with you.
But
It says yeah, so here it says if we are basically checking that it's a no,
okay,
no,
I'll
I don't
explain you
know.
this part. I'll explain you this part.
Okay.
Let me share this. Okay. Not always. You can stop sharing. It was 76, right? INT 0076. Right?
Yes, it was this one.
Okay. So just a minute.
So I think that one is the eval is checking that if the last record.
Yeah, it's basically a Java statement. Okay, so process profile here, so the statement from your DA is a document accessor. It checks the file size. This is a variable that we are taking. WD retrieve variable is the default variable wherein the input file is being stored. And when it goes to the splitter, it splits the line one by one, as in line by line. Okay, the
Correct.
input file line by line. When it goes to this eval will store. Okay, when this basically it will store the last message in that. Okay, so this is a Java function. Okay, util dot last message in that. So if I'll just Google okay, util dot last message in that. I don't have it. So it's basically a Java function only. Util library. It should be inside this package.
Yeah, I think I was trying to understand. So basically, it is that one is just a eval. We are evaluating whether that is a last record or not. It's a check, right? And
So
if
see,
so, then we are doing something, right?
yes. So basically, this thing we are utilizing it here. Okay. So this line true and false. Okay. So this line and this line. Okay. This line and this line. So when this line becomes or this becomes false till the time this is false. Okay. Till the time this is false. Okay. Props first record and last record. It will go here. As in the data, every line of data would go there. And when it becomes true, okay, it will go here. It will go here.
Right.
As in
Okay.
first record equals to false. So basically, it checks line by line data. That's it. That's what it checks for. Okay. So next it goes for all splitter, aggregator, and aggregates and stores the file into a yeah, it stores here. So it stores the file into a variable inbound.file.xml. That's what it does. Okay.
Yeah, I think what I was when I was looking at this, right, in my head before actually looking at the code, I was trying to do this myself that how I would check, and I think what I made the notes as is that instead of
Mhm.
that last record where you're checking the last message in batch, could we have used a if statement? Now my memory.
You can use different logics for that. Okay, different logics. For an example, I could use something like I could use something like this. Okay, So let's say my first, just ignore this line, okay? I'm just writing this after this. See this line, what I'm writing. So we can write path uh, path 0 0 dot path 0 dot toString dot start. So I can use this also, okay? Let's say my first line starts with always starts with number, okay? So or employee, something like that. Just something. E starts with E, okay? So I can use this and it will go there, okay? Dot toString starts with this. So you can also use contains also. You're just like instead of starts with, you can use contains. So if you go to this line, so it's all as per the logic that you write. It's no hard and fast rule that you have to write this logic only in order to get there. So it
Okay,
depends.
we're just
Okay,
checking. Okay, we can do it
just checking.
anyway. Mhm.
Exactly.
All right.
Yes.
There's a batch XML, right? Just after a few steps in our last after the splitter, we have a batch XML, and what I was not able to understand was that how that what is its connection with that aggregator? Because
Okay. So
it shows
two
that
things.
aggregator is being called by two places, right? And I didn't understand.
Okay. So one line of data would pass here in this step, right? I'm just talking about each
Yes.
step. Okay. One line of data would go here. Then it will go here. Then a text schema will form. Then an XML will form. Then a splitter will come. Then why splitter and aggregator together? Because we'll get if you will see my notes. Where So if you see my notes, we were talking about something like this we get, right? File detail, again file detail, okay? Again file detail, again file detail. This is not the proper XML, okay? The proper XML has to be detail, 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 which is, and total thing is aggregated inside a file, okay? That's why we need a splitter in order to split the details from here, to split the details from each detail, file detail row, and after that an aggregator in order to take all the details and aggregate inside a file. Okay,
Yes.
two things. Aggregator is, there are two conditions in aggregator. Till when the aggregator collates and when the aggregator batches. Okay, so there are collate when. Collate when means
Mm-hmm.
till when you will collate the data. Post batch when you will batch the data. Okay, so there is a props in which in the start of the program in the global props where I'm declaring it. I have declared this a value of false. Okay, false.
Mm.
Okay, collate when until the value is false. Okay, what I've declared it.
Correct.
Wait, I'll just show it. I'll just have just have what I've declared. Uh, false. Okay, close aggregator false. So don't get confused here. People get confused here. So this will run until the value remains false.
False.
When the value
Yes.
becomes true, okay, this means true. We have written a statement, or you can write equals to false. Okay,
Sure. Whatever. Yeah.
okay. If you can write, if this confuses you, you can write this. You can remove this, and you can just write simple statement which is something like equals to false, which is more in a readable format. Okay. So until the value is false, you have to collate. Okay. You have to collate. Now I'll give you a situation. Okay. Let's say you have only 3 lines of data. Okay. So first line goes here, aggregate, it comes to aggregator, aggregator found that the closed aggregator value is false. Okay. Because it has not been true. So the instruction is collate. So it will collate. Okay. It is just checking the variable, and this variable is false, and this has to be true in order to batch. The value is not true yet for this variable. So it goes back again. It doesn't finds anything. It just finds a collate logic. Okay. So the second, it goes for the second iteration. The second iteration comes. It's like again again it collates. The third iteration comes. Again it collates. For the fourth iteration, it won't come here because there is no data here. What will happen? Okay, it will go back, and I said you right when we were doing that core connector and employee, when the last data is encountered, after that data, the fourth line won't come there here because the fourth line doesn't exist. So splitter will start going back. Okay, splitter will
Correct.
start going back. It will go back here and it will again jump to the next local out. What is the next local out for after the processor of file? The next local out is a look. Next after this is called batch XML. But in this, what I have done, a local out calls the local in. Okay. In parameters, I have the same variable that I was talking about. Swap close aggregator. I've set the value to true. Okay, in this variable. Okay, in this parameter. So the value of the prop has been changed to true now. Okay, now where is the local in of this prop? Okay, when you see the declaration in workspace, it, it shows you here. Okay, batch XML, and it comes here and it executes the next step. When it goes for the next step, what you see that the aggregator sees that the value of this is true. So what it will do, it will batch. The aggregator gets closed now. The time till now the aggregator was open, it was not closed.
Correct.
You have to close the aggregator. Okay, that's the thing. You have to close the aggregator. So
And
that's
then,
how the thing is.
okay, so
Yeah.
I think the aggregator closes. That's completely fine. What is the this batch XML that you see, which is actually calling in aggregator? So another way that aggregator could be called. Do you see one is actually being called through splitter, which we just discussed, and what is this other one? Do you see that home sign, the local out here?
Which one you're talking about this aggregator?
Uh,
Sorry,
yes, do you see that batch XML on top? I was not able to understand what is that.
okay. Okay, so what the purpose of this is? Okay, it is just a local in. Okay, I can keep it here also. Okay, I just for this I'm just keep it here. So the purpose of this is to close the aggregator. Okay, why to close the aggregator? But because we haven't got an aggregated data. You want this data at the end. Okay, this data. You want this data at the end,
Mm-hmm.
right? The aggregator isn't cold. You still have this much value only. You don't have this. Okay, because the aggregator is not closed. Okay, aggregator is not closed means your data is not formed yet.
I'm
You
still
haven't closed that.
adding, yes.
You're still though your processing is finished. Okay, now collate one is not working now, but you have to do a batch, right? And in order to do a batch, you have to close the aggregator. Okay, so and in all these things you have to keep this as false. Okay, why false? Because this is operating this collating and batching is operating on a condition. Okay, if you don't want any condition, there is a property also. If you set to true and if you just close this also, okay, just remove it. Aggregator batches on the last message. Okay, but there is a problem in because if you do this, okay, just true and it won't batch. It won't batch. There is a problem. There is a problem that may arise. Okay, so you can do something like this. I'll show you what. Okay, you can set it to false only. I'm just giving you. I'm not confusing. I'm just giving another logic also. You can just write it here. Right here. Util dot control C last. Okay. So what it will do when you write this statement? Okay. Post batch when this is true. So whenever the aggregator will find the last message, okay, which is the last message, it will batch.
Oh, okay.
Now, whenever the last message in batch is found, okay, last message in batch means 3 rows, 4th row is found. This function will know it, okay, and this value would be set to 0 internally. Sorry, this value would be set to true internally.
Correct. Yeah.
Till 1, 2, 3. Because rows are there, this value internally is set to false, but as soon as it encounters the blank row or there is no row, it will close the value. This is also a way to do that. Okay, you can find multiple ways to close an
Got it.
aggregation.
I
Hope
see.
you
So
understand.
basically, it makes sense now that I understand that it's not calling. It's actually only to close it, because at that moment we have stopped collating, but it's not still not complete. So yeah, I think I was missing that part.
Yes, yes, right. So
Okay.
it's clear, right? You're not having doubt,
Yeah.
right?
No, now I'm clear. This makes sense.
Okay, great, great, great. Nice.
There
So,
was
hmm, hmm,
one
right.
last one that I have
No, no, you
is
can go ahead asking as many doubts you can. Yeah, go ahead.
um,
Okay.
okay. So here, if you see the get workers, yeah, this get workers tab,
Mm-hmm.
we have async mediation there, right? And there it's basically it looks at the downstream errors. It handles the downstream errors. I think it's the second one. Um,
Downstream. Yes, this one, right? This one, this one, this one. Mm,
yes,
no, it doesn't handle it.
I think.
True, this one.
Okay, can you scroll to the left a little bit? I just want to see that yeah, I
Right?
think it's the catch error one. Yep, that's the one that I'm trying to
Mm,
ask.
yeah.
Here, there is basically there is and if you take this a little bit down,
No.
I just want to see,
Yeah.
yes. So you see the put soap error in the first one, async variation, and that's okay. I understand that. And
The
then there is
downstream.
a, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then the catch error also has, it basically calls the clean ID to
Mm-hmm.
clean. My question was that when does that initiate? Because how does it
Yes.
know that it's clean or not? Because it's not called the get or put to a get workers yet, right? So it's not run a
Okay.
check yet. It's before that. So yeah,
I'll tell you. So let's say you run the first. You have four employees again. Okay. You have four employees, and you have stored all those employees in a hashtag.
right.
So in the hashtag, you have four employees. That is coming from the input side. Okay. It may be that out of four employees, two are invalid. It may be. Okay. They send two invalid employees, and that can exist on uh, second row and fourth row. Okay. So first is valid, second is invalid, third is valid, fourth is invalid.
So
Hello.
when we say invalid, is it only looking at
Yeah.
like type? Like maybe we were
Okay.
expecting text and
No, I'm
somebody
just
sending A, B, C, D.
giving a
That's
situation.
wrong.
Yeah. No, no. How it is
Okay.
evaluating, I'll tell you. How it is evaluating, I'll tell you. Okay. So hash set will run for four times. Okay.
Okay.
Hash set will run for four times. So what happens here? So first time when it runs, okay. First time. Okay. I'm just talking about the first time. First time when it runs, it goes. It takes. So I'm just giving you a background run. Okay. So there is a loop, right? You see there is a loop here for each loop, right? There is a for
Correct.
each loop here for the hash set. Okay. Loop runs one by one. Okay. Internally it will run four times, but for each worker. Okay. The first worker comes here. It comes here. For the first worker request, it comes here. It comes here, and it comes here. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't and it if it is a valid worker, it comes here, goes here. Okay. Let's say it is a ABC on the second node, it was an AB. Second hashtag is having ABC, or let's say there is a value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what will do, the get worker will try to send the again, it will come here, it will come here, it will come here. Now at this step, the request to get worker is trying to send a value ABC in the tenant. So get worker means trying to get a worker with a value ABC from the tenant.
Correct.
Okay. ABC does not exist in the tenant. The get worker will give a error message. Okay.
Yes.
This page get will give a error message. Okay. When this happens, error happens in Workday, the control goes back to the previous statement. Okay. Now,
Oh,
how it reaches here is because you have checked the handle downstream to be true. If it was false, it would have gone to this step. Okay. if it is false, but you have set it to true here, hence it is coming to send error of this, and it is coming to clean EIDs of this. Hence, for that invalid employee, and he's after calling this call clean invalid IDs, it is clearing that employee ID from the hash set. It is inserting the third employee ID, and again from here it is calling up. From here it will call the page get for the third employee ID.
Understood. Yeah, I missed that. I saw that it's a handle downstream, but I didn't realize, yeah, it will come back. That was
Any. Okay, so any of the it's not. I'm talking about page set. Okay, let's say in splitter. Okay, in splitter you don't have anything to split. Okay, you don't have anything to split. Let's say there was no. So splitter will error out with a message that no split error, no split message. Some error is there. No split message. You must have seen it sometimes in your error logs also. No, excuse me. No split message found. Something like this. Okay. So this is a by default error of a splitter. Okay, but if there is no default if there is no error handler involved, but splitter goes back here and it can give this error also what you have written here if the downstream is on for this. So it behaves every component which errors out. Goes. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to this step. So any problem from understanding that why it is going to call clean invalid ID?
No, I'm good.
Good, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So process get workers. Okay, great. Now we were in the last session, in the last class, we did the raw file processing, we did the batch XML closing at the aggregator, we did the process get worker. Okay. Process get, after process get workers, it was a process off cycle. Okay. In this process, what is the process off cycle? Basically, we took the input file only, which we stored in the above step, input file in the aggregator step, which you are talking about, input file XML, the aggregator, the first aggregator we did. Okay.
Yes.
So here in this, we are splitting again the input file only. Okay. Now you'll ask me why you're splitting again the input file. The input file has bad data, right? Let's say the input file may have bad data, like 10 rows of data and 4 are invalid, but the correct data is stored in hash set, okay, or hash map if you have created. So in the next steps, we will see that, okay, from validity XP, we'll try to insert the first row, as there is a splitter, we'll one by one, we'll send some of the row inside the hash set and we'll see that whether this is a valid employee or whether this is an invalid employee, something like that, like we did in the last program also. So if you go here, okay, there is a validate exp, okay. So what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to do on all these steps, okay, I'm trying to, so I've captured this in my notes also. So in all these steps, I'm trying to take the values from the input file only. This is what the input file already has, okay, and just this is a mathematical calculation. It is just seeing that part 0 for this value is not empty, that divide this value by this and store it in this amount, P amount, or store it in P FedEx amount, or store it in PSSC amount, tax amount. We are going to load these things, okay. That's why we are doing a calculation here. Just a calculation, nothing else, just a calculation. No logic involved, just a calculation. Same here, we're just doing calculation, plus minus. That's it. Remember, we had a field override. Now, in order to get the data from field override, we are getting the value. Okay, we are getting the value. How we are getting the value? Now remember, we have a P employee ID. P employee ID is nothing but, if you see here, there is a P employee ID. This is nothing but the details employee ID. Okay, details employee ID means we are taking employee ID from the file. Okay, we are sending that employee ID in this step. We are sending that employee ID to a hash map. Okay, dot get means it is sending, dot get. Basically, we are sending we are passing the key. What will get a value. Okay. What is this hash map storing? Okay. So again, to revise this, the hash map is storing nothing. But if you just go to this step, not this step, you will see the hash map. This is the hash map name. Dot put is storing an employee ID and part 0 text. Part 0 text means everything apart from employee ID that is coming in the response. Okay. Just before this step, whatever is coming, everything is stored inside this part 0 text. Okay. Now, when I'm passing this, when I'm passing the employee ID, what I'll get in response is the part 0 text, not the whole XML. Okay. The whole XML. So the next thing means the var existing data would have the whole XML. Vars. That's why it's a variable. I'm not writing a props. I'm writing a var because it's a variable. Okay. And I'm storing a whole XML inside this variable. That's why I'm writing a var. Now, in order to get the start date, p start date equals empty. First, I'm initializing it to empty. In order to get the start date, what I'm doing, vars existing data dot x path. Okay. I'm traversing in the XML. Worker data, integration field override this, and current period start date. I'm just traversing in the XML that gave as a response from get workers, and which is stored inside a hash map. And I'm storing the current period start date and current period end date in different props. Why I need that is because my web service needs it. Okay.
Yeah.
Validate exp. What does validate exp mean? That if it is so vars existing data not equals empty. Okay, means that this data, this var should have a value. Means if it doesn't have an XML, meaning that nothing is returned, right? Nothing is there in the hash map for this worker. Nothing is there in the hash map for this worker. Meaning, like I'll just say, this employee ID can be a. This is just from the file, right? Just remember, this is just from the file. The file is still having two invalid employee IDs, right? The hash map is not having invalid one. Okay, it is having all valid ones because the hash map was again deleted or cleaned and everything happened on the hash map. So hash map is having a valid value. So the first value, let's say employee 12345 had a field override service and everything. So we got a proper XML part 0 text which was stored in the hash map. Let's say there was an invalid employee ID ABC. Okay. Now ABC must have been deleted from that hash map. Remember, it must have been deleted. Why? Because the page get must have been errored out that time, and it must have again gone to clean invalid IDs, and clean invalid IDs, that row, that employee ID will be removed from that hash set, and again the new row would have next row would have gone. So in this whole process, that employee ID never went through page get, right? Means you never got a proper response for that employee ID, right? A proper response is an XML response. So when the second ID ABC try to, if you this is the key value, right? You try to pass the key of ABC. The key ABC doesn't exist in that hash map.
Right.
Okay.
It's not going to return.
So
not going to
you get nothing.
Yeah.
You get nothing. Okay. You get nothing.
Yeah.
So in this you'll get nothing. So hence the validate exp checks for vars existing data not equals empty. If it equals empty, existing start date and end date provided for the employee ID is invalid. Means you don't have a current pay period start date and end date for that work. If it is equals to empty.
Yeah.
And like understand it.
Yep.
So again, there is a calculation involved. If something, you can use a ternary operator also here. Okay, so different ways of doing different things. Okay, if I would have been here, I would have used it because I have not built this class. Okay, someone else has done this. So I must have enhanced this class. So someone else has used a if else statement. Okay, if I would have been there, I would have used a ternary operator. So depending upon how you program. Okay, so things change. Okay.
Sure.
XSLT.
It's
why
doing the
it?
Same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
Same thing. Same thing. Nothing. In XSLT, you are actually using. You are actually making a web service request. Put payroll off cycle request. Okay. Put payroll off cycle. Now put payroll off cycle request is responsible. Now this is an off cycle integration. Hence, put payroll off cycle request. Okay. Now, in you have to give all data inside this, like you give in your EID, right? You fill in the sections, okay, in EID. Now, in order to get props as in props value, you have stored everything in props, right? Everything is there in props, all these VESC, all those things. In order to get the props value in XSLT, always remember that you need to declare it as a param. Okay, these are nothing but these are prop values, okay, which is stored up. You need to declare it as a param. Okay, you need to declare it as a param. Understand? Means I'm trying to access props. Simple thing. If you want to try to access props values in the XSLT, you need to give param. And here you don't have to write props, but inside the name of the prop, which you write in single quotes, that name has to be written here. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, so when you form the XSLT here for this web service, it's a normal XSL template. You write, give a template name, match details. Details is nothing but the first line of data. Okay. So envelope, then you are giving all the things. Okay. Employee reference is P employee ID, which is coming from the file. Payment date is the P start date, P end date. IA priority is the priority you're taking must be 1 or something. Payment priority, again you think. So all these things which are coming in the file, earning code, you're giving here. Everything. Okay, this is the whole thing here that you're making. Whole thing that you're making up. Till here your envelope is ending. And when this is just a web service request, and there is a set header. Reason of this set header is when validation mode is on, this will execute with a set headers of X validate only equals 1. Okay, so in this case, the data won't be updated inside Workday. Okay, so it calls the payroll web service. If put payroll, so you just have to select the application here. Okay, you just have to select the application. You don't have to select the web service, but you have to select the application in which the web service resides. So the web service resides inside payroll. Okay, here. Okay, once this is all done, a call audit success. Now, still remember, there is still one line of data. This is one line of data only because there is a splitter, right? It's for one line of data only. This whole step ran for one line of data, and one line of data only got inserted. Okay. For one line of data only, this audit log is called. Still, the one line of data is there. The splitter hasn't gone for the second row. It's still the first row. Okay. Yeah. It calls the call audit success. In call audit success, okay. Don't see to this validate off. Okay. In call audit success, what you're trying to do. Okay. In call audit success, you're trying to build something. You're trying to, okay, now what is this @ curly braces @? Okay. So this is a @ curly braces, nothing. It's an ML statement. Okay. ML statement. Now, if you want a value, okay, if you want a value of employee ID in an ML, okay, in an ML, this is inside this, you're writing an ML statement, ML. Okay. So you write, like for an example, I need a success employee ID. Okay. I write @ curly braces the props name, @ curly braces this name, @ curly braces this name. What is this props? Nothing but the success employee ID only. Okay. Now this, what you're doing, this you are aggregating it again.
Yes.
I will go slow. This is the first line of data. Okay. First line of data coming here, coming here, coming here, coming here.
But it's just printing. Basically, it's putting all those values together. It seems like we are trying to concatenate.
You're trying to
all
make
that data.
a success row. Okay. There is again an aggregator. Okay. This time, it is not an XML content collator. It's a content collator. Okay. The difference between XML content collator and a content collator is you're trying to aggregate the text values. Remember the before value before this, the text line. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a line. Okay. If I'll just maximize it, I'll just scroll this. This is a line. Okay. This is a line. This is just a line. So what is happening inside the aggregator? Let's check. Inside the aggregator, see what is happening here. Okay. Header text. In this content, now when you add this content, okay, it asks you for a header text. Now see, in header text, header would come in the like when the final output would be found. Like remember, the final output for XML content collator was file, then number of details, then file, right? you
Correct.
can say that file as a root node, right? File as a root node. In case of content collator, we have a header, and if you want a footer, then we have a footer. Okay, so the header is nothing, but the header is the heading of the audit file. Audit file is the success files. Okay, so see here, employee ID, name. This is just a header. Name, this, FICA medical amount, all these things. Okay, footer. Yeah, footer. Again, why this? Add the rate this, because this is a line break. Okay, this is a line break. Always remember, this is this is no. This is not a line break. This is a slash n is a line break. I think so. Slash n is a line break. I'll just reconfirm. Just give me a minute.
It was
Slash
the
n is a
new
line.
line only. Yeah.
Yeah, slash n. Why? What is this? Slash n line break. Line break. A new line. Yeah, that's a new line only. Line break. I was right. New line. So yeah, new line. So header and the footer will appear. Why this is there? Okay, why this is there? Because if you'll not give this, okay, so the last row of your detail and the footer would be mixed up. It will come on the same line. Hence, it's the line break, then it's the footer text. Okay, and the separator is line break. Separator is line break means when this will come, again a second row will come. The line break would be automatically attached. Okay. So now coming to success. Okay, what happened if there was a failure row? Okay, success row will come. Okay, remember there can be an invalid employee ID also. So in case of invalid employee ID, what will happen? It will go to here, send error, and it will call this, right? Call audit log cycle. For an example,
Yes.
here in the validate EXP, we can receive an employee ID ABC, right? For which there is no data. In that case, this will be called, right? This will be called. Where this is directing to? It is directing to the same place here, audit log. Okay, both success and both error is coming here. Okay, how you can identify the success and error? Okay, you can identify based on there must be, okay, so there is an A error. Okay, A error means they have stored something in context.error message. The context.error message would be existing start date and end date not fine for the employee. Okay, so it will and in this you will see there will be an A error. There will be something somewhere the A error. I'll just show you. This the A error. There is a A error, right? In this case, the A error would be not found. Okay, there must be something set success. That in this case, the A error is success. You see this? In this case, when it goes here, the A error is set to success, and in this case, the A error is set to. So in this case, you can differentiate which is the valid row and which is the invalid row, because you'll have a message of error. I'm sorry, existing data not found, and then you'll have a message of success for the data which got uploaded. Okay, right. All those data are being aggregated here. At some point of time, the splitter will end, right? At some point of that time, the splitter will end, right? When the splitter will end, what happens? Does the splitter will end? It goes back. It goes to process of cycle. It goes to the local out of this process of cycle. When it goes to the local out of the process of cycle, it calls the next audit. It calls the next local out. What is this next local out being directed to? It is directed to batch audit, and batch audit will actually close this aggregator, and after this, it will go to directly to store. Till the point the aggregator is not closed, it will never go to store. Remember that. Till the point the aggregator is not closed. Means if you when the first line of data comes, okay, the first line of data, it comes here, it processes here, it goes here, it goes here. Let's say it's a success row, it comes here, again it comes here, it comes here, it comes here, it comes here. Okay, but it won't come here because the aggregator hasn't closed. Remember, the aggregator hasn't closed. It will come only here, only when the aggregator has closed. Remember, it will come only here. Yes. It will come here only when the aggregator has closed. Okay. For some things we can skip this aggregator also. That's a advanced concept of error handling. That how we can actually skip the aggregator rows. But just for as of now, just try to understand that the aggregator, it will not go to store step until the aggregator is closed. Okay, meaning you'll not have a whole set of file until and unless the whole file has been aggregated. Once the whole file is aggregated, the store component is nothing but stores the file. It will store the file, and there is a PIM which will show in the message that your file has been stored or audit file is there. Okay. So in the end, the audit file would have all the success rows and the error rows, because this is an inbound integration. So it should have an audit file which has the success and the error rows. So the client knows that which is the success row, which is the error. Okay. That's how the audit file is formed. And audit file concept logic remains same throughout any integrations you do. Okay, you will aggregate error rows and success rows in the audit file. That's it. Audit file is just for doing that. It may be any complex integration, it may be any small integration. It's generally coming with inbound integration. Okay, remember, it's generally coming with inbound integration. These things. So always remember, it generally comes with inbound integration. Yep.
Okay.
So, I know it's a bit to take in, but once you go, so that's why self introspection is necessary when you are building the studio. So you have to go in, you have to build, you have to come with doubts. Okay, like you know about what is the downstream errors, but you had a confusion when you went ahead, right? Now that's a valid confusion. Okay, if I'll go building a first studio of myself, I'll have that some kind of confusion. Now you know how that works. So it's just a flow that we need to follow, and that's how the whole this inbound studio ends for this off cycle input.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Okay. So this is not much tough, right? The one that I was explaining earlier was the tough one.
That was that was a little complicated. This was I think the only complexity here is in terms of there is a big there's a big XSLT and a lot of
you won't get
stuff.
You won't get that because there's a requirement. The input file came as a very big one. Right? Maybe for your off cycle there may be a small input file. Okay, it may, so that depends on that depends on studio to studio. I just wanted to show you one thing. Alok, who is the coordinator or someone, who he said me to show you that there is also a studio available. Okay, if you go to RDP, you just have to download a remote desktop. I set in the connection. If you want to build your own studios, okay, not on your tenants, so you can log into this RDP. You can see my screen right now. This is the whole thing, okay, here, and you can build in the studio also here. There is a tenant also there, okay. The tenant, you can see the screen, right? The shared screen also.
Yes.
Right. So where they have to click this. There's some password, and I forgot the password name. Something. So you can build a studio here also. That's additional thing I wanted to show you. That's it. You can, or any day you can build on your tenant only. But yeah, this is also a thing given to you. Yeah, this robo details. Yes, that's what I was searching for. This is the password. I think so.
Okay.
So that's where you can go and build your studio or something. So, but yeah, do it anywhere. But that's not an issue. But yeah, always apply a global error handler. Reason being that global error handlers should be applied, because if you're not doing any of the captures, this will always execute. Okay, as a part of it.
Got it.
So we still have few classes left. You're understanding the crux of inbound studios, right? I don't want to keep things pushing on you. Understand the crux of inbound studios, right? You're confident, like tomorrow if you're given an inbound studio, you can at least read it, right? That's what.
Yes.
I'm not saying you to make it.
Definitely.
I'm saying you to read it first. Okay, we'll go step by step. You can read it, you can make it also. Okay, by seeing, because that takes time. It may take 3 months or 4 months. But if you know how to read it, so we'll see a bi-directional studio also, what you call as a boomerang studio. Okay, we'll see that also. If you have some boomerang studio of your own, which you think as a complex, we can start with that boomerang studio. Okay, boomerang studio is a mixture of outbound and inbound. Now, when we go to boomerang, okay, you will realize that this, uh, you will realize that things we have already done. Now, I'll not take my studio for an example. I'll take your client studio for an example. Okay,
Yeah.
you will see that the making of studios are same. Okay, they're not following any. They're not reinventing the wheels every time. Okay, so sometimes we go ahead to reinvent the wheel, and just sometimes we do totally something from the scratch. But most of the time, studios are a repetitive process because we get same kind of integration at times, same kind of clients. Okay, there may be an Infomart, there may be a Benevity client, or those are the repetitive clients. There may be an ADP, someone like that. So,
Yeah, no, I
reality.
can get something. Yeah, because I do have a use case where I have to create that kind of an integration to my advantage. There's one very similar to that that already exists. So
Let's
maybe
do
we
that.
can,
Let's do that. Let's solve something on real time. Okay. So let's do that. So what we'll
yeah,
do, let's take that. Let's take your use case for an example. Like I prepared some of the use cases in the start. Let's take your use case for an example, which we haven't done, which I haven't seen, and let's start with that. At least let's start with that. How we can go ahead doing that. Okay. And we'll take the reference of the one that you already have, the boomerang that you already have. Okay.
sure. Yeah.
And then boomerang will cover everything, and I'll teach you one thing more additionally, that is external APIs, how Studio sends data outside Workday. Now these are something which are still sending data or getting data from Workday, or updating data inside Workday. Okay, now we have to think about how to send data outside Workday. Okay, like
That
for
will
a
be
background.
very, yeah, that will really be very advantageous. In fact, it helped me understand the concept as well, that how one would use that versus this, and what kind of scenario. So that would really
So
help me understand better also,
I'll
why
just give
people
you a
use
new
that.
thing. I'll just not new thing. It's a very old thing. So in Workday, so you have reports in, right? You have reports in your with your clients,
Yeah,
right? So do you give your report URL to some other client and ISU username and password to
we've
access
done
that client?
it. We've
You
done
done it,
it.
right?
Yes,
This is
yes.
called external, right? This is called external. Now you're following a traditional method. Let's say, okay, I'm just giving. Let's say I'm nobody. Okay, I want to access your client. I want to access your client tenant data. Okay. If I have a URL, report URL, and if I have your user name and password with me, okay, I can access it from any part of the world, right? Until and unless there is a IP whitelisting happening on your tenant. Let's say there is no IP whitelisting happening on your tenant. If I have the URL, if I have the username and password, I can access the report data from anywhere, right? I can access it right from here, installing a software called as Postman, a
Yeah,
third
that's
party
kind
API.
of, yeah, that's very, doesn't seem very secure to me.
Exactly.
Sharing the
So
link.
that's the point which I presented few days back in my firm also. And we will face all these problems. Okay, the security threat. For this, there is something called as OAuth authentication. Okay, OAuth
Right.
2.0. Okay, by which we can call our custom reports. So in this case, the client wouldn't have a username and password, but the client would have a facility to generate an access token. How that access token is generated? A very simple example given to you. Very simple example. You check into a hotel, right? You check into a hotel. You are given a card to access your room, right? You're given a card to access your room. When you go inside your hotel and you access your room, the card works and you go inside, and whenever the checkout happens, okay, let's say you still keep the card. You have forgotten to give the card. When the checkout happens and you again go to the hotel sometime back after 5 days, you again try to access that card against the same room. Does that room opens again? No,
No,
right? No, right?
no.
That's called access token. You're trying to access the room, but you're not authorized. Okay? The access
Okay,
token
got
has
it.
been refreshed.
So access
trying to
token
make
is actually given only for a certain duration of time, or and
yes,
hence it's
yes,
okay.
and the access token is generated by client.
Hmm.
So it makes the whole transaction secure. It happens on your daily to daily life authentication, but you don't realize it. It happens when you sign into any other your apps on your iOS, okay, on your iOS, and it asks you that should I can I direct you to Google in order to authenticate, allow from Google, allow from Gmail. Then a
Hmm.
Gmail pages come, and then you press and allow, right? Then it games also ask, right? Can I send your information from Facebook? Can I take information from Facebook? All those things. Those are nothing. Those are authentication. So
Understood. Okay.
all those parts. So let's do tomorrow. Come up with questions, okay? I'll not start until you come up with questions, okay? But let's start with boomerang. Boomerang are really interesting part. Let's start with boomerang. Let's deal with external APIs. Let's send something outside Workday, and we'll see a practical example, not a theoretical example. Practical. Let's send outside Workday. Let's see if it gets received. Let's start a listener service. So
Sure. I
okay,
can get a example of the
yeah, that
boomerang that I was saying that I have to create. Basically, it exists for one country and very similar I have to do for another. So
let's
maybe
let's
that will
do
be
that. Let's do that. Let's do that.
fun.
So let's connect tomorrow if you're.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.